among all of you, presenters, attendees, moderators, organizer. Really, really wonderful. And I'm also thankful to the previous speakers of today because they actually did a lot of my work for me. So this may just be really short. So thank you to Alex and to Danielle for covering a lot of what I wanted to say and saving me a lot of time, just as AI tools would. So there's a little bit about me so that it wasn't covered before. And that is that I have spent a lot of time in the classroom with young learners, specifically high school learners, as well as university learners. But my favorites, as Ron mentioned, were young learners because we learn so much from them and they are sponges and so open to new things, which we are as well. And you can see a little bit more there. I teach immersive technologies to mostly English language teachers at a university in Greece. And it's highly recommended for teachers who are here or interested in doing an MSc program. It's virtual reality and augmented reality, nothing to do with codes, so no worries. I'm not a coder, but I do use ChatGPT for that. Sharing is caring is something that I've always been saying, and I think that many of you do the same. That's what we do online. We share what we learn and what we find out with others, get input, and that's how we connect. So the Google Slides on the left, you can get that if you've got your phone handy. And there is the right that you might be interested in taking courses with me and others. What I'd like you to do is try the 3-2-1 Padlet wall. Any ideas what 3-2-1 is before you go into it, or even after you do? You can add that in the chat. What is 3-2-1? Is it a dance? If you haven't heard of it, you can check it out and find out. So comments on 3-2-1. No, ready, steady. Yeah, ready, set, go. That's the idea. In any case, you'll have that later on at the end. So don't worry if you didn't capture any of these images. 3-2-1. We'll get to it in a minute. So this is the agenda that I'm going to go through. There's a lot of information. And the reason there's a lot of information is that you can take something with you when you leave the conference and try things out. So don't be alarmed by the information at this time. Just kind of sit back and let it kind of go through and enjoy. So first of all, who, what, why, and how. That's what I'm going to go through. So who am I? I told you a little bit about me, but I don't see you guys, which is very, very difficult for educators who are used to being in the classroom and who need that, feedback from the audience, because I don't know how you're feeling. You're all in different places, of course, and you might be sitting, I don't know where, maybe you can tell me where you're sitting, and I don't see you. So the only way that I can kind of see you is through the chat. So feel free to use the chat as if we are communicating. I also added, as you can see on each of the slides, smiling faces of people so that I can feel that I'm talking to an audience. So this is my way of feeling more comfortable. So thank you for adding where you're from. That feels wonderful. So that's a great way to start. So introduction with a 3-2-1. We'll talk about AI literacy, which was discussed before. So you'll see that a lot of what Danielle and Alex discussed, I will be talking about. Why and the how. And then AI tools for educators, the why, and of course, the how. So let's get started. Great. Thank you for sharing all those countries. I know it's early in the morning in the Northern Hemisphere, well, at least in North America. Right now in South America, it's 4 o'clock in the morning where I'm at. So none of my friends are up. I'm sure. But if you're here, welcome. So 321 is a way to introduce our learners if you've got a new class. And this is the Padlet wall where I've added this. Now, it's okay. You don't have to fill it in right now because I won't be able to read it anyways. But I'd love to get to know you. And this is a way for us to learn about one another. Going to ask you some of the questions here. And these are the questions, but please go there anyways, because, whatever you answer in the chat box here on Zoom disappears unless you save it. But then, it doesn't stay somewhere digital where we can all share with the information. So Padlet is one way of doing it. So what is your current teaching environment? Is it primary? You can add that in the chat. And I'm checking the chat. Is it secondary, university, or something else? Adult education, any kind of education. So feel free to add that. I know that secondary has double meaning. In some places, secondary is actually university. So you can be as specific as you wish. Okay, great. Glad to see that. Yeah, upper school, that's another. So, there are different ways of expressing these. So feel free to use your way of saying it. That's fine. So how comfortable are you with using technology in the classroom? That's a big question. And be honest. Because sometimes, we may feel very comfortable and other times we may not. So, it could be not, and that's fine. So the next question is, how comfortable are you with using technology in the classroom? You can also add what some of your favorite tech tools are that come up now, if you can think of one. And of course, what new AI tools are you using in your teaching? I see the chat is slower than my voice. Okay. So yeah, intimidating. Thank you for that. When I started using computers in 1993 in the classroom, I threw myself. They didn't throw me. I kind of volunteered to go into the computer lab. And I sat with computer science students, high school students. They were in their final year, 17 and 18-year-olds. And I was petrified. I'll never forget that day, how scared I was that they would laugh at me. They would just sit there by their computers and laugh at this English language teacher who was trying to use computers for teaching. So I understand what, being scared by digital devices or technology, online technology can be. Okay, and the final question is, or not the final, actually. It's the 1, 2, 3. What sparks your curiosity about AI and ELT? Very important question. If you can't think much right now, that's why the Padlet is there. I need this feedback from you. It'll really help us move forward. So are there specific areas of your teaching where you think AI could have a significant impact? Okay, bandwidth. Yep, that's a huge problem. But there are resolutions to that. Thank you, Ron, for the formative assessment. Wi-Fi. Okay, 2 things about you. What is one practical skill or tool you want to learn during this session? And there's some examples there. AI images. Thank you for that, Corinne. Yes. I can help with that. Any other practical skill or tool you want to learn during this session? Visual stuff, yeah, listening, okay, games, songs, Padlet, 1, 2, 3, great. Okay, speaking tools, wonderful, text and audio, all right. Great, keep them coming. Gonna go to the next one. And one final question. What is one practical skill or, well, I just did that, didn't I? Oh, something must have gone wrong. Okay, so imagine an innovative teaching method you'd like to try using AI. one teaching method you'd like to try using AI, how would it help you engage? Well, that's something that you can think about for later. PBL, yay. AI-driven games. Reflective. And oh, I love this. Great. This is wonderful. You've come to the right place. Okay. Great. Great. Creating listening tasks. Yeah, listening is so important. I think that was mentioned yesterday, that we all need to be better listeners, but you can't do it on Zoom right now, anyways, with such a big group. But with smaller groups, of course, you can listen. Thank you for that. All right, so we'll start with AI literacy. You heard Alex, sorry, not Alex, but Danielle speak about that. But just to review some of these things, notice here what aspect and description for AI literacy and education. Take a look at these three, for example, and try to think of your own. I should have done this before, but look at these anyways, and think of what you think AI literacy is for you. What is AI literacy for you? Think of all the things that you'd like to know. Okay, thank you, Nabila, sorry. How to avoid plagiarism. Yeah, that's AI literacy in education. Okay, thank you for that. Research. Okay, so first of all, we have to understand how these tools work. Okay, we want to know how they work in learning environments. And Alex mentioned the importance of digital environments, online environments, as we used to call them. Now, names are constantly changing. Thank you, Ron, all the aspects. All right, so notice here, we're talking about, and I will be going through these, integrating AI in teaching, just as we integrate technology, or maybe we're not integrating technology, but it's similar in many ways. And we want to be able to develop syllabi, of course, our courses and lesson plans, if we're using lesson plans. Okay, remember our second talk yesterday about lesson plans and sticking to lesson plans. But digitally, you can always make changes. And that's what's great about teaching digitally online. Evaluations are also super important. And then the ethical issues. Now, I think this is a huge topic that many of us are constantly phrasing. We keep saying this, but we're not actually discussing it, are we? Are you discussing ethical AI use in classrooms with your colleagues, with your administrators, with your family members? I mean, this is a discussion for everyone. And for students, of course, everyone involved, all stakeholders should be discussing this. And what I'm getting is a lot of, anti kind of, which isn't really discussions. Okay, we should be open to hearing one another, of course, and to discussing it. Yeah, there's lots of fear. And I think the fear, and I'll be showing ways of avoiding this fear, is because, many of us are not using it. When you use something, the fear kind of disappears with time. And I don't know if I did mention that I am involved in mindfulness. I use mindfulness in all my classes. So that's another way of kind of lowering fear and having more open discussions. And of course, professional development, which I will be discussing, and preparing students. We need to prepare them. As we know, English language teachers are first generally to use technology, except for the science teachers and the computer science, of course, teachers, and prepare students. We are the ones who prepare students. So why AI literacy? Well, we've heard reasons for that in the previous talks. First of all, efficiency. We spend a lot of time, needlessly looking for ideas, and we don't know where to look. Now it's a lot easier to get ideas and to get them 24/7. We don't have to worry about disturbing our colleagues at certain hours. We have AI by our side to help us think through what we want to do. We don't have to get their ideas, but it's a great way to communicate with a friend, an academic friend, someone who can point us in the right direction. And I do this with my phone. On my walks, I have my iPhone and my companion, ChatGPT. And instead of listening to audiobooks, I now have conversations with ChatGPT about different topics that interest me in different areas, not just in education. We also want to be able to use AI tools responsibly. And this is a huge load on teachers. And that shouldn't keep us from doing it. But we have to be informed, of course, about ethics and privacy. And we have to have our students in mind at all times. And, of course, prepare them. And that's our job as English language teachers. Now, this is what I use in my online courses. All my courses focus on AI tools, including the Moodle training course, where educators, English language teachers, and everybody else learns how to create activities and how to prepare the actual course, a Moodle course, using these tools. And you'll get a chance to try them out. And if you have any questions, I'm always available to answer them about these tools. So why AI tools? That's a question that we're all asking. And these are some of my answers. What are yours? Why use AI tools in the first place? I mean, be honest with yourself. Why would you want to use them? You want to save time. Okay. That's because you heard that it saves time, right? Okay. Keep up with the times. Yes, we like to stay abreast. To create image. Yes, love images. Totally agree with you. Yes. These were created with ideogram, in case you're interested. Keep our students interested. Aren't students interested anyways? I mean, English language teacher, we talk about different topics and we let them talk and we let them lead and so on. Isn't that enough? In the classroom, in the face-to-face classroom, motivate them. Aren't they motivated to learn English in the first place? I'm asking because I know mine are. So these are not reasons for me. But in some countries, I know that they're not motivated to learn English. They're actually kind of unhappy about it. We are trying to motivate them. All right. Yes, definitely. So we want to enhance our skills. We want to personalize learning. I don't know about you, but I've had classes, high school classes of over 40, 42 to be specific, and university classes over 200 and sometimes even bigger. And I had to go online. And I did that in 2003 when I started using Moodle because I had no choice. How could I personalize learning? How could I reach students? And I'm talking about language. Language. How could you learn a language in a huge class by, you don't talk to learn a language. You need to actually practice. And how do you let students practice unless you go digitally and use an LMS? Such as Moodle or any other LMS that Alex mentioned. I don't see a way of doing it. And that's why I went into digital environments and teaching, both face-to-face and digitally, which was called then hybrid and then blended learning. And now it's probably called something else. But that's the only way I could reach my students. And I had to reach them. I had to. That was my way of teaching. There was no other way that I would do it. I couldn't I couldn't just use the blackboard or then the whiteboard and so on. It just didn't work for me. So to personalize learning experiences for both the teacher, of course, and the students, and create activities. I mean, how much can you do in the classroom without some kind of device, a digital device, such as a phone. And today you don't have to use computers. You don't have to go to a computer room, thank goodness. You could have students use their phones if it's allowed. I know in some countries it's not. And if they don't have a phone, you could have Teams and those that have phones. And there's a question there about AI in knowledge management. Great question. All right, let's continue here. Keep adding to the chat. We want to be in their smartphones. All right, so what I do in my courses is we go through a process. I say we because we collaborate. And you can do that in a Moodle platform. You can collaborate with everyone. And since I teach mostly teachers nowadays, it's an amazing environment because teachers are very, very keen on learning. I call them expert learners. I think all teachers, everyone here who's a teacher or who wants to be a teacher is probably already an expert learner. You know how to learn. You've learned English as a foreign language, or you're teaching English, you're learning other languages. You're learning all the time, and you're here because you want to learn. So you are actually an expert in learning. So first thing, they prepare, but before you decide, you need to have a goal. What do you want? Where do you want to go? Okay, and you need some kind of a roadmap to get you started. But starting is the hardest part. So first of all, you have to sit and think. And if you can't think, use ChatGPT, get ideas. And then you need to think of what you want to do. What kind of lessons do you want? How long do you want the lessons to be? What do you want to use for your lessons? Do you want to use the books, the textbooks that you have for your students? What resources do you have? And you'll be able to make changes and to adapt to these resources that maybe the students bought. And you have to use those textbooks. I don't know if any of you have encountered that, where you need to use the textbooks that the students bought or that the school has provided for the students, and you have no choice. So there are ways of working around that. And then you'll be creating engaging activities. You're also be able to reflect as a teacher and as a student, and you want to do all of that. And this is the road that you can take. Are you ready to take a road trip? Let me know in the chat if you're ready for this. Ready to go on a road trip. Ready. All right, so let's get going. First of all, start. Motivation. This was mentioned. You mentioned it. So you already said this. You actually mentioned everything. You mentioned motivation, aspirations. You are the travelers, okay? And your students are also going to travel. So you're not traveling alone. You're going along with your students. And I think this is very comforting. You could actually go along with your colleagues as well, and your administrator. You can go along with the parents. This doesn't have to be a solo road trip. You can take others with you. So who would you like to take with you on this road trip? Let me know in the chat. Who would you like to take on the road trip? My staff, yay. My students, lovely. Other students from other classes, nice. That could be my learners, co-students, nice. Amen. My students, great. Colleague, I would like to take other students, maybe take the whole city, take the neighborhood. You could take the community with you. Okay, that's right, Evelyn, the educational community, exactly. And then the destination. You have to decide on a destination, and you can do this together. You don't have to do this alone. So what is your destination? Where would you like to go to? Your kids, your personal, that's right, your own children. Yes, that would be nice too. Why not? Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to master the tools along the way. You're going to create activities together for course development and the syllabus, as well as your lesson plans. If you like, you don't have to create a syllabi. You don't have to create lesson plans if you don't want to. It's up to you. And you can decide as a team. Oh, that's nice. PBL. Well, I think I came before PBL. And then, thank you, Ron. And then activities. Okay, you're going to implement, once you have the tools, you decide on the AI tools that you want to use, you're going to implement these tools to generate, first of all, instructions. Instructions are super important. I know that many, many, many of us, not just students, but many, many teachers as well, don't read instructions. Many people don't read instructions. When you buy something and you want to put it together, and you have the instructions, do you bother to read the instructions? I know I don't. I just try it. And then I go to the instructions. Okay, so whichever method works for you. First of all, students need instructions. So learning to write instructions is a great way to start practicing following instructions yourself. If you're like me and you don't bother, you will start following instructions. So writing instructions is one, and then reflections. Sorry, after you write the instructions, of course, you will be engaging students in the activities. That's clear. And then reflections. Reflections are super important. And there's so many wonderful AI tools that I'll show you that provide you with ideas. And you can customize these bots. They're actually bots, AI tools. Customize it to suit the level of your students, the purpose, whatever you want to do it for. But really, really low levels, if that's what you teach. If you teach very, very young learners, you can also use it with them on your phone. It doesn't have to be their phones. You can use your phone, and everybody can come up to your phone and practice. So that's also a possibility if they don't let you use phones, your smartphone in the classroom. So we'll have to cut our road trip short, but we can continue this after. All right, so as I said, let me just reiterate. First of all, we need to prepare and then add the instructions and then reflect. And you'll be able to go through this. I'm not going to read it for you, but that's the process. These are the tools that you've probably all been waiting for. Okay, and notice these tools, all the teachers in my courses try out these tools. Now, they don't just try them out, they create activities with them, and they demonstrate how they do this. Now, demonstrating by creating video tutorials. They don't have to show their face, of course, and they use screen recorders that are in the Moodle platform. So they don't have to go somewhere else. They can stay in the course and generate their own videos as they progress. And they show what they do. And teachers love this because it's a chance to teach others. They teach as they learn how to use the tools. And this takes time, of course, but I think that once you have fun, time seems to make no sense and we don't think about it at all. So Notebook LM, how many of you have used Notebook LM? Great, nice, wonderful. Two of you have. If you haven't, it's Google Notebook LM. All you need to have is a Google account, which many of us have. So that's not a problem. Yes, you will be able to try out all these tools. It's in the presentation that I've shared. I'll share it with you once again so that you can, in case you missed it, that's the presentation with all the links and all the information that you'll be able to take with you and take a look at a little bit each day. I suggest 10 minutes a day of checking out these tools. But there's a better way to do this, and I think Alex mentioned it, and I will too, and that is using an LMS and actually learning with other teachers so that the journey is not lonely. We are lonely enough in the classroom sometimes, so it's great to do it with others. So setting learning goals you can do with these tools, teaching preparation with those tools that are mentioned, and notice the designing engaging teaching activities with these tools. Some of them I'm sure are familiar to you, some maybe not. And then evaluating students' output with the tools that are under AI tools. Now, this is one of my favorite tools. Now, notice it's completely free for teachers. Your students will also have it for free, of course, but for businesses, it's not free. It was developed, and I'm talking about RiffBot AI. It was developed by Harvard, I believe, Harvard University, and by an amazing developer, Letizia, and I think that who was from South America. And she also has a book on reflection. Her bot reflects, I think, what any teacher does, because I think teachers are very much aware of what it means to reflect. We do this, I guess, on a daily basis. Every time we leave a classroom, we think about what we did, how we could improve it. We're forever reflecting on what we do as teachers. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't done a study on this, but from my experiences with teachers, thank you for adding that about Chalky and Magic School and 11 Labs. Yes, they are truly amazing. So RiffBot, you need to, when you go into the site, I just want to mention this because the link is there. When you go into the site, take a look at the bottom right-hand side of the page where it says teachers. Teachers need to apply. And the application is only formality because Letizia does this automatically, but she needs the names. If you're interested, let me know. I'll be able to send this to Letizia and she will add you. But I need to have a huge list, so feel free to share that with me. Not by adding your emails in the chat, please, because no one's going to pay attention to that. So 11 Labs, I'm in love with 11 Labs as well. It's kind of pricey. Well, it's not really pricey, but the free version doesn't do much. So maybe it's worthwhile getting your school to buy it. It's an amazing learning tool. If you're, many of you mentioned listening and speaking, it's a great way we can customize both RiffBot, of course, and 11 Labs so that, it adheres to our students. We could also have personalized learning where we add specific bots to specific students or to groups of students. So the idea of grouping really comes through with these bots. Right, so lesson plans. How many of you create course syllabi, have to create course syllabi or lesson plans or both? Let me know in the chat, because some universities and schools require this, so we have no choice in the matter. So how many of you have to? And some of you do because you want to. So yes to university, and perhaps that you want to. How many people, how many people believe in this? Thank you, Ron, I forgot to put my timer on. So thank you for being my timer. So both, okay, thank you for that. So Coursebook is quite nice. Develop online courses. I created this and teachers are quite happy with it. It's completely free. It's a GPT by ChatGPT. I created it a while back. I actually created 15 or maybe more, I'm not sure. But it's really fun creating these. You don't have to know coding or anything like that. to develop a GPT. Anyone else develop a GPT? So develop online courses is apparently a good way to do it. There's Easy Peasy, which is nice. Right, so I'm going to go a little bit faster here. What we want is to have a complete cycle from the beginning, from course syllabus to the reflective practice, so that we go through the whole thing. So these are for lesson plans. I'm not going to go through them, but you may recognize some of them, such as Gemini, I'm sure, and Magic School was mentioned, but Logic Balls is also quite nice. The names are kind of surprising. They sound ridiculous, don't they? And Canva, of course, has a new tool. They keep adding new tools, so you can even create a syllabi with it. Chalky, of course, CurryPod, and all of these that I'm going through very, very quickly because I already showed you the list at the beginning of the 29 tools. There may be more. Quizzes. Someone mentioned yesterday that Quiz is better than Quizlet. Quizlet has changed its policies. It's no longer, it doesn't have the free, and the AI disappeared all of a sudden that it had for a while. So yeah, Quizzes may be better these days. There's Roshi. I don't know if you've heard of Roshi. Very, very specific to ELT and to Canadian policies, but it's good for everyone. Roshi and Twee. They're similar and not so similar. They all have free versions. So everything that I share has a free version. Character AI. Let me know if anyone has used Character AI. It's also a bot, like 11, well, unlike. So, and there's Mizu bots. These are all amazing bots that you can, Mizu is also free for educators that you can customize. And of course, the Riff bot that I mentioned before. So what are you going to do with these tools? That's what I thought. What am I going to do? I'm on a road, okay? And what do I do with the tools now that I have them? Well, that's where I come in. And you can take courses with me for free. I think Ron mentioned it, free. And I've been doing this since 2009 because I felt the teachers needed it. I needed it, so I decided to do it. And there it is. It's been around since 2009. It's a Moodle. It's always up to date because I'm the administrator. So if you have any problems, I'm the support person. You don't have to go anywhere else. So there are lots of value in having an admin who's involved in this. And I've been doing this since 2003, so I'm quite capable. Notice there are 12 free online courses. All of them are AI related. So you can generate different things using AI. All the courses are based on dates, on the months. So for example, in March, you can join AI apps for spoken English, AI and teaching EFL to young learners. In July, TESOL online. With AI, develop your own online course in October. And questions. Before we get to the questions, I'd like to say that questions are key. Getting instant support is super important, which is why I added to the chat box. I think it's important. If somebody adds something, someone has to respond to it. And not just here, but in the classroom. So you can only do this digitally, which is what I do. These are some references, very current ones that I think you will enjoy. And as I promised, you can share these with your colleagues. I will add the link. Once again, you can join me on LinkedIn, Facebook with Ron and others. And if we're connected, hi. And my YouTube channel, I currently have 155,000. And if you join, if you subscribe, I'll have more. So that would be nice. And this is my present to you.